This is Father Darren Schmidt from the Diocese of Sioux Falls in South Dakota. Today historically was observed as the first of the Lenten or the spring Ember days. This is the Wednesday following the first Sunday of Lent, along with Friday and Saturday of this week. These were the Lenten or the spring Ember days. So I wanted to explore with you today just briefly, what are the Ember days? Where do they come from? How were they observed? How we might continue to observe them as Catholics today. The term ember comes from a corruption of the term in Latin for 4 times, quatuor tempora, as they were observed 4 times during the year for the 4 seasons. And so in the English-speaking world, they've been known as Ember Days for a very long time. They have their origins. They may go back all the way to the ancient Roman agricultural festivities, but for the Christians, they quickly became times of extra prayer and penance to thank God for the blessings of the previous season, and then to ask and beg his protection from evils, various plagues and diseases that could afflict their crops and their livestock, and blessings of rain and growth for their crops and herds. We know that they're observed in June, September, and December of each year, summer, fall, and winter, at least from the time of Pope St. Calixtus I in the first half of the 3rd century. And Pope St. Leo the Great thought they went back all the way to the apostles. By the time of Pope Gelasius I at the end of the 5th century, they included the spring Ember Days, the Lenten Ember Days that I already mentioned. And so those 4 times during the year for each of the 4 seasons, they would observe these days. And they consisted of the Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday following regular feasts on the church's calendar. As I mentioned, the spring Ember Days followed the first Sunday of Lent, so the Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday in this first week of Lent. And then in the summer Ember Days followed the Feast of Pentecost during that week that leads up to that Feast of the Holy Trinity, the Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday as well. And in September, be those days that followed the Feast of the Exaltation of the Holy Cross, September 14th. And in December, for winter, the Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday following the Feast of St. Lucy. So these spring Ember Days probably receive the least attention just because we're already in a very penitential season during Lent. But the main observance was with fasting. So much like we still have today, fasting consisted of allowing oneself 1 meal, and then if necessary, up to 2 other times they could eat during the day to maintain strength, but not consisting of full meals at those other times. They did partial abstinence on the Wednesday and Saturday, which meant allowing yourself meat at 1 meal, but not at the other times. They did eat more than once, and then full abstinence on Friday as well. And very quickly for Christians, they also came to be connected, these Ember Days, to ordinations to the priesthood. So often the Saturday Ember Day of those times could be celebrated the ordinations to the priesthood. And so part of the people's prayer and intentions as they did fasting and penance and prayer for the new season would also be to ask God's blessings and for holy vocations to the priesthood. The Lord uses many agricultural metaphors for his shepherds, for the workers in the vineyard, to ask the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers for his harvest. And so these Ember Days were seen especially as great times to ask for holy vocations to the priesthood. I think this is how we can continue to observe these Ember Days as Catholics today, and it connects us with our ancestors in the faith, goes back almost to the time of the apostles, and continues to punctuate our own lives with Christian asceticism, self-denial, the willing taking up of our crosses, not just during Lent, but throughout the year, throughout our lives, that we would continue to offer to God these spiritual sacrifices and bodily sacrifices, that we would be part of his calling men to the priesthood, that we would continually beg his protection and forgiveness and his blessings upon each season of the year. And so I encourage you to observe these Ember Days when they do, as they come up throughout the year. And it's a way that we can continue to delve deeper into our own Catholic heritage and tradition, that we continue to be connected to the land, the God of all creation, that gives us the gifts of each season, and continue to strive for the holiness that Christ has for us, that he offers to us, and that he continues to call us on to be his holy people, to be his spotless bride.